Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Timmy Treacle, also known as Horror Fan for Life. And this evening I'm doing a special top 10 list. This top 10 list is going to be with some controversy. This will be my top 10 controversial movies that I love. Now, I could have done a list of controversial movies that I hate, but after going back through them, I only have about 3 or 4 right now that I just didn't like. And just not enough to do a top 10 list. But I have a lot of movies that are controversial that I love. So I'm going to start with my honorable mentions, which I have several of them. And they are The Evil Dead, 1981, Dogma, Brokeback Mountain, Hard Candy, Citizen Kane, The Deer Hunter, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, Straw Dogs, the 1971 movie. There was also a 2011 movie, which I absolutely love. I haven't seen the 71 movie yet. Dirty Harry, Midnight Cowboy, Psycho, Natural Born Killers, and The Interview. All great movies, all great controversial movies, just couldn't make my top 10 list. But what did make my top 10 list, coming in at number 10 is Peeping Tom from 1960. Number 9 is Requiem for a Dream. This movie is really messed up. Centers around a group of kids and their drug habits and drug problems. And man, they have some nasty, I would say, dreams, and they're just flashing really bad because they're so high on these drugs. Marlon Wayans stars in this movie. It's got a great cast. It is a messed up movie. I highly recommend, if you're real sensitive to people doing drugs and things like that, you may not want to watch this movie. But as far as for me, this is a great controversial movie, and I highly recommend it. Number 8 is a movie I just watched the other day, Basic Instinct. This movie was controversial for not only its sex scenes, but the way she went about killing in this movie as well. Sharon Stone, Michael Douglas are phenomenal in this movie. The controversy surrounding it at the time. This was an early 90s movie. And as I said, there's a lot of nudity in it. And the sex scenes are a little violent as well, but nothing compared to some of your what people call torture porn movies. But still, this movie had controversy, but it is a great film, and one I absolutely love. And yeah, definitely check out Basic Instinct. It's one of Sharon Stone's best performances. Number 7 is a twofer, The Last House on the Left. Now, I'm talking about both movies. The 1972 original Wes Craven movie was the most controversial movie at that time. And it was basically because not only of the rape scenes, but the killings, the way that these guys were killed, it was controversial as well. But the remake, the 2009 movie, I absolutely loved as well. And sorry, that's my phone. Sorry about that. Both movies are controversial for the rape scenes. The 2009 movie, rape scenes a little bit longer, but if you haven't seen these movies, I really don't want to spoil it. But the 1972, the Wes Craven movie, was so controversial. It angered some people as well. Critics really didn't take to the movie at first. Now, since it's become a cult film and everything. But the 2009 movie, which I've seen both, I like the 2009 movie because the way they changed it up. And I won't ruin it for you, but both of the movies are different, especially in the third act. I'll just say that. But both these movies are great. I love both of these movies, but they aren't without controversy, for sure. Number 6 is The Warriors. The Warriors 1979. This was controversial at the time because when it was being shown in theaters, there were some shootings and fights broke out, and people were blaming it on the movie because of its depiction of the violence, the shootings, and all the fights they had. But along with a lot of movies on this list, it has since become a cult classic. The Warriors is a great movie. If you haven't seen it, it's about this gang. They're from Coney Island, the Warriors. They go to this meeting in the Bronx with 100 other gangs. There's 9 members of each gang, and they're there to basically form one gang and take over the city because there are more gang members than there are police officers. There's a 3-to-1 ratio of gang members to cops, and they were trying to get everyone together on the same page. Unfortunately, someone didn't like the idea. They ended up shooting Cyrus and killing him, and it was pinned on the Warriors, which is why everyone is hunting them down and trying to kill them, and they're trying to make it back to Coney. And on doing so, they run into many different gangs, even a female gang, which they are badass in this movie. I love that. But the Warriors, yeah, it was a controversial movie at the time because of some shootings in the theaters. But yeah, it's a great movie and a great controversial movie at that. Number 5 is The Exorcist. If you don't know the controversy about this movie, then you're just not a movie buff. You don't know nothing about movies. Not only because it's a depiction of this little girl being possessed, the whole vomiting scene. I know the Catholic Church was really appalled. A lot of people were passing out in the theater and getting sick at the time. But this movie has since then become a classic. It is the standard of horror films. And some people try to take from this movie and make their own, but they have a hard time doing it. But this was a controversial movie at the time, but it is a great movie. Linda Blair is amazing in this movie. And yeah, it's scary, but it is great, and it's a great controversial movie. Coming in at number 4 is A Clockwork Orange. This movie drew criticism as well as controversy because of a rape scene. And Malcolm McDowell, who I absolutely love, does a great job in this movie. He's a leader of all these misfits who rob people, and they happen to rape this lady. And while doing so, they're singing the song "Singing in the Rain." But eventually, they all get theirs in this movie, especially McDowell's character. But this movie isn't without controversy, but it is a great movie. It's a freaky ass movie, creepy, and there's a certain scene in this movie that really gets to me, and it just, let's just say it has to do with the eyes. We'll just leave it at that. But A Clockwork Orange is a great controversial movie, and that's why it is at number 4 on my list. Number 3 is Rosemary's Baby. Rosemary's Baby came out, I believe it was 1968, and at the time was really controversial because all the sadistic, satanic rituals that these people wanted to do with this baby. And at the time, 1960s, this was huge controversy surrounding this movie. But it has since then become one of the great movies of all time. and it has garnered not only a cult following, but it is considered to be a classic movie. And I've seen it the one time, and the third act especially is where a lot of the criticism and controversy comes in. But it's a fantastic movie. It's one I highly recommend that you check out if you're in fact a horror fan. But yeah, Rosemary's Baby, great controversial movie. Coming in at number 2 is a 2-for-1. It is I Spit on Your Grave. Now, I Spit on Your Grave, 1978, was a lot of criticism, not only for the violence, but for the rape scenes in this movie. This writer, she wants to take time off, and basically, she heads out in the middle of nowhere. She stays out there to write a book and just enjoy herself. And she is accosted and tortured by these hillbillies. They repeatedly rape her, and this is a revenge type of movie. Now, this movie drew criticism in 1978. This is one of my favorite movies from the year I was born, by the way. And it's also controversial because of the way she gets back at these gentlemen. Now, I will say this movie is controversial and it is graphic, but the 2010 movie that they redid, oh boy, I'm surprised it didn't draw a lot of controversy as well. It's basically the same setup, but in the 2010 movie, she is more brutal with these guys than in the original movie, and I'll leave it at that. But I Spit on Your Grave they're great movies. I have seen both, like I said, the original and the remake, and I've seen the sequels of the remake as well. And yeah, they are very graphic, but they are great movies, great revenge movies, and great controversial movies, in my opinion. And my number 1 controversial movie of all time is 1995's Kids. Kids is a movie that drew a lot of criticism, not only for the sexual situations, but for the violence, for the drug use. All three of those things were just so much controversy. And you have these teenagers. Rosario Dawson is in this movie. I'm trying to think of her name. I'm drawing a blank on this other girl's name, but you will recognize her. She's done a lot of movies, but Rosario Dawson is one of the big names, and it follows these group of kids. It starts off with a sex scene between two teenagers, one who happens to be a virgin. The guy has a secret that he doesn't know about, but later on in the movie, you find out that that he is sharing something that is not good. And then it goes from that opening sex scene. It follows Casper and his buddy as they go around. They try to get some marijuana. And, they end up in this park where a couple homosexual guys walk by and they're taunting them and basically trying to coerce them into fighting. There's a real bad fight scene in the park there where it's just bad. I'm not going to go into details because I don't want to spoil the movie. But after that, it kind of separates them into a few different moments in the movies. One of the girls that this young boy slept with is trying to find him because she's got something that she needs to tell him. And I won't say what it is, but there are some real bad scenes in this movie. And not only is the sexual situations, the drug use, the fight scenes, but there's rape also. There's just a lot of controversial things in this movie. It has since become a cult classic. It's a great movie, but it just gives you a glimpse of what teenagers are actually doing and how hard it is to be a parent. And you can't watch them 24/7. You got to trust them. And there's one part in the movie which I love, where you got a group of guys talking about what guys talk about, sex and all that stuff. Then you got the girls doing the same thing, and what they've done as far as being sexually active, and it's really interesting, but at the same time, it is scary, especially if you're a parent. Um, but I love this movie, and the young actors and actresses in this movie are phenomenal. Like I said, they're led by Rosario Dawson. I'm drawing a blank on some of the other names, but I'm telling you, definitely check this movie out. Especially if you have teenagers and you're worried about them, being sexually active or doing drugs or drinking, whatever, show them this movie and let them know that this is real life. This can really happen to you. And yeah, it's just a phenomenal movie, and it's my number one controversial movie of all time. So, in the comment section below, give me your top 10 controversial movies that you love. And if you don't have a top 10 list, then just name a few. I won't be doing a top 10 list of controversial movies that I hate, because I just don't have enough to fill it. Because I haven't seen enough of those movies that I don't like. And as always, let me know what you thought about my list. Did you agree with it? Did you not agree with it? If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon for all notifications. If you like this, give it a thumbs up. And as always, I do movie reviews, TV show reviews, trailer reviews, top 10s, and rankings. So, I thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for many more movie reviews and some TV show reviews very soon. Check you later.